And we have reached the Tom Brady is gone portion of our 2023 NFL team previews here on bet.NOLA.com, powered by the Dattitude Podcast. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Am I being a little mean with this thing? I mean, Tom Brady is gone, and the Buccaneers are left with these two. I mean, it's a fact. I mean, maybe that's going to be their record after 8 games. Who knows? I'm trying not to be too. You see, I'm so ready for these things to get to the end. Then look how raggedy I look today. I didn't even notice that till I got it. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to change. I don't care. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What could go wrong? We'll find out. Yep. Tom Brady's gone. He's never coming back. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are still here. Give us plenty of pleasures and treasures. Isn't that what the Pirates do? They give a little booty, a little treasures. You know what I'm saying. What kind of treasures is this team going to give us this year? Well, they are coming off of an 8-9 season. Wasn't quite the way that Tom Brady probably planned in his head when all that offseason talk back and forth, whether he was going to play, not play. Decided to play, got himself in a little trouble at home. Now he's living, well, he's not living a tough life because I've seen pictures, living on yachts and doing whatever the hell he wants. And it's Tom Brady. He just does what he wants. He did not do what he wanted last year, finishing 8-9. He did win the NFC South, but it was kind of a weird year. They never had a winning streak longer than 2 games. They had a long losing spell early on in the season. I think they started 3-2 and then lost 3 games in a row. And in that little midst of losing, lost 5 of 6. It's something that Tom Brady doesn't do, but he did it last year. Then they got waxed in the playoffs, first round of the playoffs, losing to Dallas 31-10 at home. Not pretty. So what does this team go from here? Well, they go to Baker Mayfield. I mean, you go from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield. And I'm trying not to be, I don't know. I'm not trying to insult Baker Mayfield, I guess. But how can you not when you go from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield? And he's a journeyman now. He went to the Rams and had one really good game with the Rams, and now he's going to be the Bucs starting quarterback. Looked like he was left for dead after he left Cleveland. Like his time in the league is done. Like all those commercials he had made were the end of him. But no, he's resurfaced. He's got a chance, and probably his last chance, because it might not even last that long this season, because waiting in the wings is Kyle Trask. And they had an interesting quarterback battle, those two, Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield, and eventually won by Baker. But do you think they're going to wait a long time if they get out to a really poor start? No. Beyond that, I have other questions. What about Mike Evans? Mike Evans is the first receiver in NFL history to start his career with 6 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons. And I get that you play more games today. It's more of a passing game. But still, you know what kind of incredibly impressive record that is? 6 straight seasons to start 1,000 yards receiving each of those seasons. Is he going to do it again with Baker Mayfield? With Kyle Trask? How long is Mike Evans going to kind of put up, I guess, so to say, with what we think we're going to see? What about Chris Godwin? Chris Godwin's in a similar boat. He has been one of the best receivers in the NFL when he's playing. He's had his share of injury moments. Will that happen this year? Again, what happens if a guy like Chris Godwin just kind of gets fed up with the quarterback play? Will that affect the decision? Will that affect the decision of the coaching staff if one of these two is like a little nicked up, little hammy, like twisting? Should they play? Should they not play? It's going to come into it this year. I can tell you right now. And you talk about the running game. Leonard Fournette is gone, as you see there in the bottom of your screen. Rashad White is going to get his chance to start. And you know what? Rashad White could be a really good back. I think he's got a chance to make this running game get a little better. And you know why he can't be any worse? Because you see on the screen right there, rushing yards per game. Last year, they were 32nd in the league. And in case you don't know, there are 32 teams in the NFL. That's dead last. Do we think they're going to be better? Well, they can't be worse. And I think Rachaad White is actually going to do a decent job. The good news is for this Tampa Bay Bucs team is their defense. And their defense was solid last year. It should be pretty solid again. Ranked 9th overall in the NFL last year. You see that 9th against the pass, 15th against the run. And in this division, one would think, depending on who you play, I guess, that you have to be pretty balanced because Atlanta's got Bijan Robinson, Carolina's got Miles Sanders, and the Saints have Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams. So that's 6 games right there where you're going to have to be able to stop the run. But is that, are they going to be able to be 9th again? Because honestly, if you think about it, with this offense taking a step backwards, is the offense going to be 15th again? I mean, so does that mean the defense needs to climb up to the 6th, maybe the 5th range? I don't know. Be hard to tell. Let's go to the schedule. And we've already looked at Atlanta, who was 31st, had the 31st toughest schedule. Spoiler alert, Carolina and the Saints have really easy schedules. Tampa Bay, not so much. I don't know how they got hosed. Well, they finished first in the division. So, you know what? There's that going for them. But you look at this schedule, and, I mean, at Minnesota, and then you come home, play Chicago, Philadelphia on a Monday night, at the Saints, early, super early bye week, and then the Detroit Lions. I mean, let's get real. Realistically, a chance to be 0-5. I'm not predicting they're going to be 0-5, but a realistic chance. You can go out there and bet, I think it's 8-1, that the Bucs will be the last winless team remaining in the league. You get a chance with Atlanta at home, and then you go to Buffalo. I mean, if they don't find a way to win in the first 6 games, you know they're not going to win the next one, 0-7. When does the change to Trask, when is that made? Then it lights up a little bit. You have a chance to win at Houston, at home against Tennessee, but they're thinking the same thing before you go to San Francisco. And then November 26th is interesting because, honestly, to me, Tampa Bay and Indianapolis are 2 of the teams that are going to be fighting for the number one draft pick next year. And then you see how it finishes. It gets a little bit easier towards the end. Carolina at Atlanta, games that they can win. Jacksonville and New Orleans at home towards the end of the season. Landmines all over this thing. And again, that middle part, if they start out, let's give them 2 wins to start out, okay? Let's say they start out 2-5 before they go to Houston. That's a stretch of 4 or 5 road games. Don't like it. It's not I mean, any way you slice or dice it, this has got disaster written all over it. I mean, Todd Bowles is the defensive coordinator who has nothing better to do. They made him the coach. And things have changed since he's become the coach. And I was no Bruce Arians fan either. But I think he's head and shoulders above Todd Bowles. What are the odds that Bowles makes it through this season? Or gets fired within a couple days after the season's over? Do we still think Todd Bowles will be the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on January the 9th, 2024? I don't. And that leads me to my drum roll. We only got 3 drum rolls left. Here is one of them. 5-12, and I think I'm being super generous here. This easily could be a 3-win kind of team. You've seen the regression. They've gone from 13-4 to 8-9, and that's kind of why I put them at 5-12. I will say this, though. I'm not running to the window to bet this under. If I had to bet something, that's what I would bet, under 6.5. I don't like -140. It tells you that Vegas doesn't think they're going to win 6 games either. Because that's really more like a under 6.1 or 6.2, which doesn't make a difference in the betting world. But that's what that's telling you. 6.1, 6.2. I think they're going way below that. See whether I'm right or wrong. You see we inverted, by the way, Tampa Bay and Carolina. That's because I think you know where we're going. We predicted Atlanta to finish 3rd in the NFC South. We predicted Tampa Bay to finish 4th in the NFC South. Who are we going to pick to win it? Carolina or New Orleans? It's got to be one of those 2. Simple math tells us. We're going to find out. Tomorrow, Carolina. Friday, the Saints. And then we're done. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you tomorrow.